Hi, I'm James and welcome to another review. Today we're going to look at Battlespace, which was written by Robert Salters and it's available from Wargames Vault as a print and play PDF. Now this caught my eye because it's solo. The opposition is actually all run by the game system. It's a nice touch. 26-page booklet, which is quite short for this. A lot of it is card based. There's no rulers actually. One of the cards actually acts as the measuring device, with ranges being infinite, so it makes life a little easier that way. It's fairly straightforward. What you do first of all is choose your mission, and I've chosen mission 1, which is quite a gentle one. You can see it on the screen there. I've modified the terrain a bit, made it a bit more full. I've played it on a 2-foot by 2-foot table. The rules say you can play for 2-foot by 2-foot or 3-foot by 3-foot, or other sizes, to be honest. And the objective is to get to the Humvee and check if there's any survivors from the ambush on it. So the first thing, once we've chosen the mission, is to choose our team. There are 12 troops available for us, and you choose 4 of them. There is a free expansion mission online, which does involve 6, but for the purpose of this and virtually all the other modules, it's 4. So we choose our team of 4. Now each guy has got certain benefits. Looking at the example we've got here, the first statistic is health. Everybody's got 4 hit points. Second one is initiative. This is your chance of actually activating each turn, and you need to roll that number or above. If you don't, then there are penalties, which we'll explain in the game. And then the next 2 are the to hit with ranged weapons and hand-to-hand. And then some of the characters like this one have also got a benefit. This one has the benefit that you can actually move into cover as a free action at the end of your move. That's quite a powerful ability. For each person you get 4 points of kit. Sorry, 3 points of kit for the 4 people, which means you've got 12 to play with. I chose somebody who gave me an extra bonus 2 points, giving me 14. And there's an example of one of the cards. The symbol in the top right indicates to me that it's a template weapon and it can scatter. Quantity means it can be used twice before we have to discard the card. Number of points it costs, which is 3, and then the rules for using it. I have used a card in my team loadout from the Seal supplement, which is a hand grip. You can use the cards pretty much interchangeably, and the enemy deck does vary between them, and I'll look at the 2 supplements they've released very shortly. The only thing that I think that I've got so far negative about the game is the fact it's very American centric. All the characters are American. It comes across as very American through the game. Not a drama. You can mentally delete that and substitute your own, and at some point I'll probably sit down and create a British supplement with looking at more British kit and slightly different rules to suit that. So we assemble the team, and what I'll do, I'll show you the team members I've picked and the gear that they're carrying. So figures are set up as per the scenario. What I have are all CP models for this game. I had 4 of their Bravo 2.0 pack, which you can find a review for elsewhere on the channel. I'll put a link in the top there. In the background there's a Humvee made by Battlefront from their Team Yankee range, and we have an Old Glory Humvee being used as the objective. The figures alongside it there, 3 elements strong of insurgents. They are Again, CP models. In this case they are the rear echelon Iraqis, and again I'll put a link up in the description. There's a 3-strong element there. There are also, just across the street from them, an additional figure. The fact it's carrying an RPG makes no difference in game terms. The weapons are effectively interchangeable. You could easily incorporate RPGs into the game by creating your own cards, and it even gives you some blank ones to let you do that. And then nearer the team we have an additional straggler armed with an AK, and basically to slow me up. I tend to set them up as per the instructions, but you could play around a little and actually generate your own scenarios quite easily. So let's start with the gameplay in the first turn. Now, my team are all grouped together at the minute, which helps because it means that when I make that initiative roll for the first figure, they're all under one template, therefore I get a bonus. So I've succeeded, which means I get 2 actions. Now normally you can just do each action once, however there is a special double move action which does let you move twice. All measuring is done with the card that you can see there. It's also used for grenade throwing things over obstacles, and area effect weapons. It's all based on that one template. So let's move to our second guy. So again I'm trying to roll as initiative or higher, and I've succeeded, so again I get 2 actions. So first action is a move, and again I think I'm going to take him down this way towards that lone guy there, but it's the shortest route to the objective. Then we'll move to the other 2 guys. I think I'm going to do something slightly different with them. I don't want to leave that guy behind me, so let's make the first move. I'm going to move. Okay, so I'm going to, now I've done 1 move action, I can use my second action to fire. I'm going to fire at the guy there, and let's roll to hit. I've got to exceed his threat number with all the modifiers, the plus for his skill, weapon modifiers, and -2 for the cover. And annoyingly I've got a 1. Now the end result of a 1 is the weapon is jammed. I'll have to spend an action next turn to clear that. Obviously I've missed the guy, so my last activation. Okay, I've succeeded again, so I'm going to move up and fire past at the same target. So this time much higher roll. I've exceeded the threat rating, so the target becomes a casualty and we can remove him. So that's all of my troops moved. So we now move into the sit rep phase. So we've shuffled the cards and let's turn the first one over. Okay, that's interesting. We've got we're being pinned down, and what's happening is the nearest lone straggler, which is the guy behind the 3-story building you can't see, has acquired a machine gun from somewhere. So actually I think I'll swap the figure out. If I swap it for a figure with an RPK, it looks a bit more realistic than an RPG. Well, you could argue the RPG would pin you down. So with this then, he now is going to be able to suppress me. You can see there he's got quite a nice view. So let's actually, because I've now got to activate their troops, I might as well do him while I'm on it. It affects everybody under that template and anybody moving into a line drawn between him and that template. So they now get a -2 modifier, and they can't move until the suppression finishes. So that's really, really bad news. So let's move the other guys. Now they normally move once and fire, but there's nothing in line of sight, so I'll move twice towards the nearest visible figure, of this figure. Now they're visible, and to speed things up, what you can do is just put them all under a template sized piece. So they've moved to there. That's their 2 actions, so there's nothing else that they can do. So that actually ends the first turn. Okay, I've got 2 pinned down and these 2 guys. Let's start with the guys who aren't pinned down then. Let's go for the guy who has the stoppage. So they've succeeded in clearing that. And what else shall I do with him? The second action. I think what I'll do is engage the Iraqis there with suppressing fire. Normally that would take 2, but because I'm using a minimi, I can do it for 1. And the second one, oh no, it's annoying. I've failed the roll, so I can only do one thing, but I'll come to that in a second. I would take the card, and the person with the furthest away may fall over. Okay, past the roll, so he doesn't actually do that. So I can now just do one action, which must be a move. I can't do anything else. So I'm going to move up to the roof of the building there. It's an elevated position to give me a plus to hit. So let's deal with these 2 guys down here. So the first one, can we activate? Okay, that's very close. Let's just check it. Okay, so I've failed it just. So let's have a quick look. What have I got? I've got another sit rep card. And it's resulted in another straggler appearing from the nearest piece of cover. Okay, so that would make sense. He's come out of the building. You could argue that the wall is closer, but considering that's in line of sight, I don't think it would be that realistic. So, you know, there is a bit of narrative play has to come into this. So let's test for the next guy, and we've got another failure, which means he can only move, but because he's pinned down, he can't move. So let's see what the sit rep has to say for this one. Okay, now this one doesn't actually have any impact on the game. It says that you've got 1 less turn, and fortunately this scenario doesn't have turns. So let's do the firing from the Iraqis we have here in the street. So all that you have to do now is try and roll over their threat level with any modifiers. Okay, try not to demolish the scenery. And I made 2 of them but failed the third. It does seem a bit odd to be rolling to dodge rather than rolling to hit, but it does work quite nicely. So he's now got 1 wound of his 4 that he can take. Okay. So this is the end of turn 1. The Iraqis now haven't acted can go, so we've got the suppression has gone in, and we've also got the 1 shot which missed dismally. So I can now remove that suppression marker because they're no longer suppressed, although it did do a little bit of good with the shots coming in at me there. So next turn then, we'll start with our guy on the roof, and great, we failed again, so that's another sit rep card. Let's see what this one says. Okay. Oh, okay, it's giving me some information. The straggler furthest from me is now worth bonus marks if I can subdue him in hand-to-hand combat because he's got intelligence. So I'll mark that. I'll put a little counter underneath his base, then I know what we've got. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to him though. So, okay. That leaves me the guy on the roof. What am I going to do with him? I can't fire because I can only do a move order. I quite like the fact he's in an elevated position. Well, what I'm going to do, in rule interpretation, I'm going to class lying down as a movement order. That does seem fairly logical. So let's activate the next guy. And another fail. This is starting to fall apart quite quickly. I like this touch. It does make the game a bit more realistic in that all of a sudden it can change completely. So, okay, that one didn't have any effect, that card. So okay, I can move him. I'm going to take him up on the roof as well. This elevated position you do actually get +2 to your firing from, so that's quite useful. So let's go to down here then. Much as I'd like to take out the machine gun, I'm going to try and take out the other guy first. Okay, so I can't move, which is so frustrating. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to shoot instead. So we'll shoot there. And yeah, that's taken out the machine gunner. It's a shame. I'd have liked to have got intelligence off him, but I've got to be realistic, and I'll fire that way. Don't make the roll. Try not to demolish too much of the terrain. I'm going to put it. Wait a second. Actually, instead of firing a suppression, I think I'm actually going to open fire at him. I'm putting the wrong marker down there. And also I can now take away the suppression marker because I'm no longer being shot at. So I've now got this guy. He makes his roll. I'm going to move to there and I'm going to fire. Now I'm going to use the M203. Now I've only got 2 rounds for it, but against an element they are incredibly powerful. You lay the marker point on and roll to see if it deviates. There are deviation arrows built into the card. It doesn't, so all 3 are people under it take 1 wound, and because these have only got 1 wound, that's all 3 taken out. So that was a very effective turn. I actually took out 5 guys. We get to the sit rep. Okay, and okay, it's a case of now shuffling the cards. Nothing else takes any effect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to speed things up until the next thing of interest actually happens, because I can basically move without anything stopping me unless I actually fail the initiative rolls. And this was the moment that all went wrong, the IED card. And unfortunately, having failed the threat test, it has gone off, so it affects everybody under the card, okay, which affects 3 of the guys. Guys triggered it and 2 others. He takes 3 wounds. Now unfortunately, he's already got 1. That puts him down and incapacitated. The other 2 are knocked over, and they are out of action for a second, but they can get back up and carry on. Getting up being a free action. I think I may try a house rule to actually make that the other way round, that getting up takes an action but lying down is a free action. And that's only ever played once, that card, so at least it's out of the game now. Now that really has changed the situation a little. Okay, now there is a bit of an anomaly when I looked into this. It talks about on the medic card that you don't have to be a medic to give first aid, but it gives a bonus, but nowhere in the rule does it then actually tell you how to do that. So I've played it that you can't actually do it. You need a medic skill to be able to do it. That's probably being a bit harsh on myself, but for the playthrough it's nice and simple. So let's keep the team moving down the street, and straight away we get another fail. What's going to happen this time? Okay, that's quite convenient because the nearest enemy element, and there isn't one, so there's a no effect. So at least I can move, get towards that Humvee. So let's activate my next guy. Okay, he's okay. I'm going to move him up to the casualty, get him ready to move. That leaves the last one. It's a fail. And This was obviously a well coordinated ambush because a sniper has now appeared. Now snipers are very high threat level, they're level 13, +1 if he doesn't move, and +2 for being on the roof. This could be really, really nasty. So not looking forward to this one, to dealing with this one. I think my simple approach is going to be pouring firepower at him, provided I can actually make some of my initiative rolls. And because I can't actually fire at the minute, I'm just going to move him down the street, try and get out of there as quickly as possible. I think that seems the logical plan. Not going particularly well at the minute. So again, what I'll do is I'll speed it up until something interesting happens. So I've just triggered a tripwire which has brought in some stragglers. Okay, and yeah, I've not managed to evade it, so that's bad news. So we get to roll to see how many arrive, and that wasn't good news. 5 more stragglers appearing when I'm already a man down and a couple injured. The sniper having taken a little bit of a toll before I managed to deal with them. So it divides up the furthest edges. I'm going to roll randomly 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, and roll for each one. Okay, he could get to the top of the street fairly quickly and be a problem. That one's probably not going to affect me before I'm out of there. They might just manage to get a line of sight somewhere there, particularly when they hit the building. Okay, I've got another one in the same place. Where's the last one coming? Oh, another one in the same. So they may be stragglers, but they're all appearing in roughly the same place. So let's continue with it. Let's activate our guys. See if you can search the vehicle. And okay, we've got another fail. Let's see what that involves. Okay, it's more enemy reinforcements. This time it's a whole element. Let's randomise where they come on and how strong they are. So we've rolled for how many. That's not looking good. Go over the figures. Let's see where they come on. Okay, so that's the table edge to the right, and where on it? Far end of it. Okay. There is no mechanism for actually choosing randomness like that. That's just, I've just used the completely random. So we've now got the enemy closing right in at a rate of knots. So let's start here. Okay, move him to there. Let's try and activate the guy dragging the wounded. I wonder if I can get him off the table. Could we do it? Yeah, I could do, but I'm going to hold him back just in case I need a little bit more fire support. And let's try this last guy. Success. So we can get him up to the Humvee. I'll get behind it so it provides cover, and I'll try and interact with it, which is another option. And yeah, checking it, there's no survivors, and we come to the end of turn sit rep. So again, well, let's speed it up. So it's not looking good for my team here. Looking at the street, we've got the Iraqis closing in there. Okay, so I think my objective now is to get out of there. I know there's nobody in the Humvee. Let's get my injured guy off as quickly as possible. So, yeah, that's one guy safely evacuated with the injured guy being dragged with him. Okay, let's move on to my next guy. Okay, and again I think I'm just going to try and get him out of there. Could try the shot, but I think it's just not worth trying. So a double move I know will take him off. And that's the last guy, and fortunately I make the activation. If I'd failed that activation he'd have been left on his own on the board. So I've finally got the remainder of the team out of there. So then, very, very close game. Managed to do fairly well, I think, getting out with 3 of my guys intact, or 2 injured, but the 4th one incapacitated. It's somewhat better than I did on the first run through, which I didn't film, where I lost the entire team in the back streets through basically being overwhelmed by enemy all at the same time. It's quick, it's fun to play, it doesn't exactly use a large area, it's not using a lot of figures. They reckon that 16 figures would give you everything you need for the game, and I can't fault that. Probably want a few more, because you'll probably want a few civilians to add in as well. Might want different type of opposition and things, but very easy to play game. You can see how quickly I got through that. Very playable. There's 1 or 2 little things that are missing, the medic rules being the obvious one that jumps out. 1 or 2 issues with 1 or 2 of the kit cards. I think they're a bit unrealistic, or not quite fitting in my image, perhaps is a better description. I mean, having the IED robot, the wheelbarrow, as this tends to be known in British service, that's fine, but it's slow, and I don't see it as something the team would be carrying around. I'd use it more as a scenario item, for example. There's no rules for sneaking either. They're in the seal supplement, which, like I said, I will look at in another review. And there is another little anomaly about secondary weapons between 2 of the packs. It says -3 to hit if you're using your secondary weapon, dragging somebody in this. In the sword one, which is the PMCs, they're given a -2, so there is a little bit of an anomaly there. You could argue it was kit, but these are relatively minor points. For the price of the game, it's an absolute bargain for playing solo. Small area to use, fast play. It suits my requirements down to the ground, and I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for any future supplements, and like I said, probably writing a few bits and pieces myself. When I do, I'll put them up on the website, Cold War Goes Hot, link in the description, and I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you soon for another review.